This video is going to show you a god roll craft for the BXR-55 Battler pulse rifle and showing you what enhanced traits you want to put on the gun for PvE purposes, not PvP. So first and foremost, you want to know how to get the red borders. You need 5 red borders in total. The best tips I can give you is spend your treasure keys. Now I haven't even got any because I've spent them all today. Spend your treasure keys at the Xur destination and do at least minimum 3 legend days of eternity per week on each of your characters, if you've got 3 characters, that is. Because on your first completion, you have a high chance of getting a red border. Not only that, you can farm legend days for treasure keys. Then you go back to Xur destination and hand those treasure keys in. And you get a good chance at red borders. I must admit, the drop rate for days weapons, the red borders, it's a pretty decent, compared to Kedge Crash, pretty decent. So make sure you spend your mats to get the red borders. And as I say, each week do minimum of 3. If you can farm legend days, totally do it because it's worth it. I've done a bit of that to get the reds. But first and foremost, you want to understand the pulse rifle, right? What you're doing with it. So two new things, two things about this I want to state is that it's obviously got this legacy PR-55 frame. It is unique to this gun. No other gun has this frame. It also has a unique scope that no other pulse has. When you ADS, it aims down sights like a sniper. That in its just that let alone is just so useful. Such a nice scope, probably the best scope on any pulse in the game, like end of, right? Just because of that. And the frame, it states, we've dramatically increased accuracy, stability, and targeting while hip firing. So obviously it's the Halo style pulse rifle. It's a very good pulse. It's got the stats. It excels. Its base stats are better than any other pulse that I know of. It's 450 RPM. As I said, it beats any other pulse really for stat wise. Like I've just got a random pulse here, an adaptive frame, which adaptive frames are actually known for good stats, and this just beats it massively, right? In every category, apart from impact, but that's different because there's different frames that affect impact. So understand that first. Obviously, it's got the new origin trait, Hot Swap. I won't cover it too much. I'll just tell you what it does. Switching this weapon while you are damaged strongly increases its handling for a short duration, which will stack with this handling stat that you have. So you're going to have really high handling with this weapon, no matter what you do. You can't really mess up with handling because of things like that. Recommend you put a backup mag in it, not major spec or boss spec, because the mag's just a lot less. I would just prefer, honestly, even in GMs, just backup mag's the one for me. So that's what I use on this particular weapon. In terms of what's on it, I'll explain the traits and all that stuff, right? So I can't do it because I'm equipped. I don't know why you can't look in it when you've got a weapon equipped. Anyways, so the stats. So impact cannot be affected. Range is the effective range of this weapon. So the further you stand back, the more damage you'll get, because damage is linked to range, right? So the more range you have, the more useful that pulse rifle is in GMs, in Grandmaster specifically. When you're under leveled, the more range your weapon has, the further and safely you can stand back and deal damage to the enemy, and they can't hit you as much. So range is very, very useful. So bear in mind that stat when you're putting on your barrels and your stats and stuff. So very important. Stability is decent. I mean, it's stable anyways, this gun. How much stability do you really want on it? I mean, I even play on controller. Very stable. Handling wise, its handling stats really good. It feels snappy, it feels light, it doesn't feel heavy like some of the high impact frame pulses. It's good, all around good. It affects your speed at which you can be readied and aimed. That's what it states. Reload speed, well, you want to spec a good amount of stat points into reload, because in PvE, reload speed is very important, because the quicker you get a reload, the faster you get to killing aliens, and that is important. If you have a slow reload in PvE and you do an ad clear or something like that, you'll suffer. There's a lot of downtime with reload, so you want a good start on reload, all right? So the frame, I went with plus 10 reload just for that reason, but there are 2 ways of going with it. I recommend either plus 10 range or plus 10 reload. Plus 10 range would be nice. You would lose a chunk of, obviously, reload, but you get that much more range. It would just make it that bit more consistent in endgame. And listen, percentages does matter. The harder an activity is, them slight increases you get here and there do matter more the further you go to endgame. Obviously, in Low end stuff, it doesn't because you're right close to the enemy anyway, so you're not having any benefit from having more range. You may as well just have all reload at that point. But yeah, that's what I recommend, the plus 10 reload. So the barrel, I recommend hammer forged rifling because it's a good stat distribution between range, stability, and handling, right? I also recommend probably, I wouldn't say flute barrel, that's PvP, arrowhead, break, PvP. Polygonal rifling, you lose too much range. Extended barrel is a worse version of what I've got, hammer forged, so I wouldn't pick that. Compensator, PvP, you know, because it's all stability and stuff. Small bore, whilst I do like small bore on a lot of different style weapons, it's losing a bit of range, so I didn't want that. Corkscrew rifling, no, I'm losing too much range. Full bore's good. You are losing a bit of stability in handling, but I've already told you the frame dictates that it's already quite stable anyways. So you could go with full bore, get a little bit more range, but you would lose a stat distribution elsewhere. But that's why I went with Hammer Forged overall. That was the best pick for me. Don't argue with the next guy, whoever chooses what barrel they want. At the very least, just explain to them the pros and cons of each barrel and then let them decide. This is preference, this. There's no best in slot per se. There is for me, best in slot for me is Hammer Forged, but that might not be best in slot for the next guy. They might want fluted. Who knows? Perk, mag option, so we've got steady rounds, wouldn't pick that. Alloy mag, decent, I wouldn't pick it. Light mag, I would potentially pick. You get a hit on reload and stability, but more range, so I like that. But it's hitting my reload, I didn't want that to happen. So I went with flared Magwell. Accurized rounds, really nice perk. Getting more range, but again, I didn't want to go that route with it, the range way of it. I just wanted a decent amount of range on it, not too much, but with a good reload. Ricochet rounds also really good perk, but it's hitting my reload too much. Because I haven't got a trait for reload, if you notice, on here. Right? So I'll just tell you what perks are on the gun and why I didn't choose them before I go into the actual enhanced traits that I've got. Kill and win is PvP. Heating up is PvP, so I wouldn't pick it. Pugilist is a melee-based perk. When you want to craft a melee-based weapon, you could go Pugilist and Blunt Execution rounds. They synergize together, those two perks, and it's interesting, but it's a precision style weapon, let's face it. It's not like an SMG where you open close and personal all the time. So I don't think going like a melee-based pulse is the right route to do. A grenade build is the way to go with this pulse. I think that's the way to go, and that's why I didn't pick it. Perpetual Motion is a very good perk. It's one of the best reload perks that we have in the game. I didn't choose it because Demolitionist is best in slot because it can synergize with Incandescent. And these two together are really good, and it would outweigh having a better reload. Because my reload, I've already spec'd for it anyways. I've already spec'd for it on the frame and here, so my reload's decent. It's good enough. Wouldn't need Perpetual. But I do recognize how good Perpetual is. Outlaw's old-fashioned, and I wouldn't go with that. It's a very old-school perk. It is good, but it's really old school now. It's not something that's as desired as it used to be. Second column, you've got Eye of the Storm PvP, Elemental Capacitor PvP, Got Shot Straight is a damage perk that is all about body shot damage. I'm not a fan of this. You need to remember with a game like Destiny, it favors precision-based damage. You do way more damage if you hit the head as opposed to the leg or the body. So you always want to sort of spec for that. You don't want to be like wanting to hit the body and stuff. You're losing so much damage when you do that, so I wouldn't recommend that. Then you've got the Blunt Execution rounds, as I said, that's melee based stuff. Kill Clip, whilst a very good perk, I was using that. I was using an Outlaw Kill Clip role for quite some time when the original dares came out, but since they've updated it with red borders and stuff and craftable weapons, I don't use it anymore because what Incandescent's going to be better, far better than what Kill Clip is. So obviously I went with the enhanced version. So what's the difference? Well, the standard Demolitionist, right, will just give you a bump to your grenade ability. Now the percentages are different compared to from primary to special. Like on a fusion rifle, you get more grenade energy per kill as opposed to a primary. It takes a good amount of kills, like 8-9 kills in PvE to get your grenade back on standard, right? But what the enhanced version does is just does exactly what demo does, but 10% more, which sometimes can be the difference between you getting your grade and not. Sometimes, as I said, when you get into endgame, the more percentage of stuff that you're getting, the the better it is. The more you see the value out of that perk. So I recommend Enhanced Demolitionist. If you're going to put your mats into any gun, this is probably one of the best guns to put it into, especially if you like Solo 3.0. So Enhanced Demo is totally worth it, right? And it reloads your weapon and stuff as well. So Incandescent, we know what Incandescent does. It spreads Scorch, right? You defeat a target, then that spreads Scorch to other enemies, right? But Enhanced Incandescent, when you spread the Scorch, you get max stacks right away. It got stealth buffed a couple of months ago. There's a Reddit post about it, someone testing it on Reddit and showing the results and stuff. So Incandescent got buffed, the enhanced version, right? It's better than standard. So it's totally worth putting Enhanced Incandescent on this. It's going to be 4,000, 2,000 mats each, plus 2 Ascendant alloys. It is costly, but it's totally worth it. You'll get one of the best pulse rifles in the game when you do it. So that's why you want to go with Enhanced Incandescent. I've got some footage of it, of showing it, some tests about it coming up. Just its range, how many kills, like how does Incandescent interact with Demolitionist? Just some quick tests like that, right? But that's the enhanced traits I recommend that you put on the pulse rifle. So this is going to be an extra couple of clips at the end of the video just to round it out, just some interesting things about the weapons. This is showing you enhanced incandescent in slow-mo without the use of sunspots or anything, just to show you the healing capabilities with enhanced incandescent and the exotic helmet Precious Scars, which gives you health regen based on a matching kill with a weapon. But the incandescent gives you healing off the helmet. You can see healing times 2 at the side. Now that actually procs health regen, and I've got a good clip of that. So this is obviously Grasp of Avarice is showing you. So it will obviously heal you when you get a kill with the weapon itself, right? But I'm on about the ignition. When the ignition scorches other enemies and they die to that, like look, healing times 2, I got a kill with the battler, I haven't shot an enemy, I lose healing times 2, then I gain it back and get a bump to my health. So that's just showing you incandescent works with the exotic helmet Precious Scars. Very good build. This is going to show you a clip of just standard enhanced demo with no fragments to help it out. How many kills? That's 8 for all. I don't quite get my grenade. I pop a barricade, bomber on, and then I get my grenade. So that's pretty decent. But what about with Ember of Blistering, which gives you grenade energy on ignition kills? Right? So I'm going to do the same thing as what I just did before, but this time I got my super pay attention. So you can see how good Ember of Blistering is going to be with this build, with enhanced demo, enhanced incandescent. You're just going to get plenty of nades, right? And that's exceptional on the Titan. So the next clip is just showing you the range drop-off. When do we experience range drop-off with this pulse? I've already said how good the range is. So I'll test it with this barrier. This is Master Vox Obscura, bear in mind. So 1301 is max damage. Once I start to lose damage, I'll check the meterage with Darcy. Right, so 1301 is max. So step back a little bit more. Now I'm losing it. How many ranges is that? How many meterage? 45 meters if you didn't see it. So that's 45 meters before I start to lose damage at 45 meters. This is the final clip, just showing you footage of burning steps, stacking with high energy fire, font of might, and stuff like that, and what damage it does to unstartable. Right, this is burning steps, the exotic boots with obviously with the pulse rifle. So I'm doing nearly half damage to a champ, obviously up massively. So a very good build as well with the burning steps. But that was just a couple of clips just to show you about the weapon. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.